The Way of Zen by Alan Watts is a book that was described as the best one to get into his work. If you're unfamiliar, Alan Watts was a philosopher and professor in the 50s, and he incorporated a lot of Zen Buddhism and Oriental facets into Western culture. He did a lot. The first ever video I heard was him saying, "What if money wasn't a thing?" And it's on YouTube a lot, you know, with the crappy music behind it. But I've been listening more to his longer professor talks. Some people recorded from way back in the day, and they post like an hour of him talking about a certain subject, and I was fascinated by it. So after doing a little research, people were saying that The Way of Zen is the best book to first get into if like you want to get into his work, because he's written a few books. This one definitely, I listened to it on audiobook, and a lot of it went over my head. I'm going to admit that first. There's a lot of talking about the different facets and different styles of Indian stuff. A lot of terms I didn't really get. But there was a really great quote. I copied and pasted it so I could read it now. But this was the most memorable quote for me. It was like in the middle of the book, and it just really hit me hard. Reasonable, that is, human men will always be capable of compromise, but men who have dehumanized themselves by becoming the blind worshippers of an idea or an ideal are fanatics whose devotion to abstractions makes them the enemies of life. Now, you can take that several ways, but it's basically saying, you know, if you're a stubborn person, you are just hurting yourself, really. You know, if you get so grounded in your own, thoughts, your own beliefs, and you refuse to have an open mind, it basically shows how, stunted you are as a person. There was a couple other quotes that were really good. There was one about like duality, how like life and death, pleasure and pain are all connected in like elements of desire, and how like you can, a lot of interesting facts in there. Is really, when a lot of it went over my head. Honestly, I listened to too much of it in one go, because the audiobook's really short. It's only like a little under 8 hours, and then I took down most of it in a day, and then I finished the other 3 hours the next day. And maybe I'll reread in the future or something, because you should take it slow. A lot of it went over my head immediately, I'll admit that, but it was a great introduction to Zen Buddhism and all the different philosophies that he was exploring and bringing to the Western world. So I give The Way of Zen 3 out of 5.